and he's a very influential fellow. New York Democratic Congressman Eliot Engel, who voted yes on health care back in November, but these days has been unhappy with what he's been hearing. Congressman George Venal, good to have you, sir.
Good to be here. Thank you.
As things stand now, Congressman, how would you vote?
Well, my vote is very much up in the air because I haven't seen language of a final bill. I voted for the bill, the House bill, as you pointed out, because I was able to see it. I was able to read it. I digested it. I'm on the Committee of Jurisdiction, and in balance, I supported it. But I'm hearing all kinds of rumors. I'm hearing all kinds of whispers, but I haven't yet seen the print, and the devil is in the details. So I made it very clear that until I see the print, until I see what the language is, until I see how my home state of New York is treated in this bill, my vote is not automatically there for passage.
All right, so the president is under the assumption that the House is the least of his troubles, that, the argument has always been try to win over the Senate. You guys have reconciled yourselves, that is you in the House, sir, have reconciled to the fact there isn't going to be a public option. And, there isn't going to be a very big tax where the wealthy pay for essentially all of this. Would either or both cause this to be a deal breaker for you?
Well, the bottom line for states is money. And in the House-passed version of the bill, the mayor of New York City, Michael Bloomberg, has estimated that New York would receive $4 billion more a year in Medicaid funding than it currently gets. Under the Senate version, New York would lose $1 billion of Medicaid funding per year.
So you're saying
now,
that New York, how this affects your state will trump all?
Well, yeah, because I think I'm a representative,
that's
obviously, of my district and my state, and that weighs very, very heavily with me. Now, there's provisions in this bill called the do-gooder provisions, and those states like New York, which have provided health care for its people, are being penalized in the Senate version. When the president takes the Senate version and says he's going to use that as a basis, well, I want to know if we're being penalized. If we're being penalized, then they don't have my vote.
Congressman, that's an excellent point. I didn't even think of that. Thank you very much. Good having you.
Well, thank you.
Well, the president's trumpeted the fact that the American Medical Association, at least, those white lab coat dudes, well, they're all for this. Well, this guy is a doctor and a United States congressman, and Georgia Republican Phil Gingrey wonders who the president's been talking to, because this doc don't like it. So, Congressman, you're not a fan, and he can't win you over to be a fan.
Neil, I'm not a fan, and he can't win me over to be a fan, and I was surprised to hear my good friend from New York, Eliot Engel, just comment that he's looking for the New York shiny red apple. Sounds like yet another deal, not unlike the Cornhusker Compromise and the Louisiana Purchase and Gatorade. And, of course, you mentioned the judgeship in Utah.
He does raise a good point here that a number of governors of states, Republican and Democrat, have raised that it's all hunky-dory for the federal government to push something on folks, whether you're for it or against it. But the govs have to be the ones to implement it and deal with the fallout cost attributed to it. And this Medicaid issue that a lot of them raise is a... even the most liberal among them are saying, whoa.
Well, Neil, of course. I mean, the Medicaid unfunded mandate is killing the states, but no one state should get any special deals.
Wouldn't that be a pit, though, Congressman, if that's what undoes is we're so focused on public option, no option, have the rich pay all or have the rich pay most. And what dooms it is this obscure Medicaid. It's not obscure, but it's certainly not a headline issue, and that could kill it.
Well, I think bottom line, Neil, more importantly than who gains and who loses is the fact that the American people, at least 73% of them, think they lose. And they've said loud and clear, as they said during the August recess. And let me tell you, they'll say it again during the Easter recess. And that's why the president is so heck-bent and determined to force this thing through by March the 18th. Of course, he's got this big trip planned to Guam and Indonesia and Australia. I think he better plan on just canceling that trip and staying home and minding his homework. But
well, he just might. He just might. Yeah. Obviously, he's reading some frantic kind of times of waste into this. Is he right?
Well, you know, quite honestly, Neil, if all I cared about was the next election, I would say to them, hey, you have at it. You know, go ahead and cram it through. I hope you do. I hope you get it done, because American people are going to turn you out in droves on November the 2nd. But listen, it's much more important than that. The American people can't stand this. They're losing jobs, 16 million of them, over 10% unemployment. So certainly I don't want to contribute and add to that. I'm hoping that this thing doesn't pass, and I would encourage everybody, the Tea Party patriots, Freedom First, every constituent in every district, especially these Democratic House members who are struggling with the pressures that they're receiving from leadership and from the White House. Tell them, no, the American people don't want it, and if you vote for it, you're going to be part of the unemployed 16 million.
Well, they might need a doctor. You could come in handy then at that point. Congressman, thank you very much. Good seeing you.
Neil, thank you. Always good to be on.
So, you know, this is a kick for the president. He's working like crazy to get this thing through the Senate, right? And he's facing a heap of trouble with angry Republicans and a lot of Democrats in the House. So is the White House kind of like a Toyota Camry with a stuck gas pedal careening off a cliff? Let's ask Jonathan Honig, Lizzie McDonald, Mike Norman.